All right, and here we are. This is the Working Title Show with Zach Sams, and we are back, and I am excited to be here today. We are going to have a great show, and with me always is Trey in the booth. Trey, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's happening, boss?
Oh, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy the sun is out. It has been rainy and nasty, and today it's turned. So hopefully we'll dry up.
It's definitely a good day in the city today.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
Beautiful day.
I've had to take a boat to work the last few times, so I'm glad that we're drying out here. But anyways, I'm more excited about having a great show today. We have some great guests. As always, the Working Title Show is brought to us by Kensington Vanguard National Title. They are our show sponsor and the number one title company in the country, and also the largest commercial title agent in the U.S. So if you have title needs, Kensington Vanguard is your spot. So, but I want to get right into the show and introduce our guests. We have some very, very exciting guests today. I have with us Romy, Cheema, and Bill Richmond. And Romy and Bill are with Platt, Cheema, and Richmond. They're partners there at the law firm. And guys, just thank you all so much for being on the show with us and coming out to talk to us about the great things that are happening here in the DFW Metroplex. We have a great economy, great real estate market, and here we are, like what year is this of the recovery? Year 20 or something? Nobody's quite sure, but we hear it's good and it's still going. So thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah,
glad to be here.
This is round two, I think, for me.
Have you been on the show before?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is. Oh my God! Why wasn't Bill on the show last time?
I was busy doing important things.
That's
your
true.
rival podcast. Yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
I'm already worried if I'm getting billed hourly, for having you on this podcast.
You are. You'll get an invoice.
I was wondering, you were setting a clock down there or something. I was wondering what that was about.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I can't ever get away from these attorneys and the hours you're billing. But thanks for being here. Thanks for putting me on the clock. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be
Thanks
here.
for having us.
So, Bill, Romy, the law firm, y'all are real estate attorneys, but y'all do more than just real estate law. So tell us a little bit about the firm and kind of how y'all's firm works.
Sure. So PCR started back in 2015, so we'll be celebrating 5 years up here in a couple of months. And we've evolved a little bit over those years, but at this point we've got 12, soon to be 14 lawyers, mainly focused on commercial real estate transactions, as well as corporate and business litigation. So Romy was one of the founding partners, a longtime friend. The three founders, so myself, Romy, and our colleague Judge, were all law school classmates, and
Nice.
decided after doing our big law thing that we would go out and work for ourselves. And about a couple years ago, Romy founded CANTEX and is now spending most of his time actually being in real estate and doing investment through his company CANTEX, which is really, really exciting. So less lawyering, I'm doing more of the law, he's doing less of the law, but still all real estate all the time.
That's really exciting. So, and congratulations on the success of y'all's law firm. I've known y'all for a couple years and got to see some of y'all's growth, and it's been really exciting. And we'll get to CANTEX in a second, but guys, tell me why, is everybody hears on the news is, how strong the economy is, especially now that we're in an election year. That's all we're hearing, and it's great. But what's continuing to drive the strong real estate economy that that we're seeing here in Texas, of course, and DFW, but also around the country, in y'all's opinion?
Romy? You want to take a stab at that? Specifically here in DFW, we probably talked about this last year as well.
Right.
It's job growth, and it has been for the last 6, 7, 8 years.
Sure.
We still have one of the best economies here. We have some of the best population growth, but it's all in all, it's driven by job growth.
Right.
And so to me, that's the core fundamental is as long as people are moving here, but they're moving here for jobs.
Right.
That is important. I don't know what the latest number was, but I think our unemployment rate in DFW is 2% or maybe sub 2% at this point. I'm sure people that are out there trying to hire, are seeing what a tight labor market it is, especially for good talent.
Sure.
And then specifically in real estate, with all of those people, they need places to stay, they need places to buy things. for industrial, those places where they buy things need storage. So when they order from Amazon, that needs a place to be stored. Hotels, people need places to stay when they're visiting. For companies, they need office space. So we're seeing that kind of trickle through into keeping Dallas-Fort Worth a strong economy, and it seems like that's going to be the case. To me, it seems like that's going to be the case for at least some period of time going forward. At the beginning of this year, I know a lot of people said, "Hey, election year, I'm not sure what 2020 is going to look like." From my perspective, kind of being on the front lines of on the investment side, I don't see anything slowing down. If
I agree.
It's maybe heating up.
Yeah.
Especially with interest rates the way they are, we're seeing interest rates actually decrease. I'm looking back at debt I did in the last 2 to 3 years where I was hitting a crazy fixed rate, and now I can fix it for 70, 80 basis points less. And so that's making things even more interesting.
Isn't that crazy? Because we've been saying for how many years now that the rates are not going to stay this low, and
5,
it just
6 years.
Keeps, it's just what is driving that? Is that all the Fed, or is there other contributors that's keeping these rates low and continuing to stay that way?
I mean, part of it is we're seeing so much new competition that wants to be in the Dallas-Fort Worth market, especially from a banking side.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to win business is to kind of have the best terms on the block. Obviously, a lot of it's relationship driven, right? Everybody's giving you the same green paper. Well, to win new business, if I'm a new bank entering a very competitive marketplace of hundreds of banks with long-standing relationships, I kind of have to give you the best deal.
Right.
And if that's what is happening, a lot of banks want to be here. They want to make a presence. Well, you're seeing a lot of banks come out and have to give really aggressive term sheets, and it's honestly fantastic for borrowers like myself.
Sure.
It's great for people that are looking to refinance in this market. Maybe not as good for existing banks that are here and losing out. I mean, I hear this all the time from banks we work with. Hey, this is as good as we can do. And I say, hey, market, here are 5 term sheets. Market is this. You guys are off. And you're seeing a lot of banks kind of having to readjust to a new norm that's constantly changing and get more aggressive. So
that's really cool. So
one of the things, if I could jump in,
absolutely.
Romy mentioned, and he just mentioned it very quickly, but I think it's critical, is he said the number of people who are moving here are people who are working and looking for jobs or coming here for a job, which creates more jobs. When you look at nationally, people will say, well, you still got states like Florida that are in the top 5 for growth and population. But when you look at the quality of the dollars contributed, sure, you're going to get retirees who are coming in, buying homes, maybe spending some money, maybe golf memberships, boats, whatever it may be, but that's not on a per capita basis as good as the type of person who's moving to Texas right now, who's moving here because Dell opened a new office, or Amazon opened 5 new facilities, or Facebook has a new office, or you've got Toyota moving their headquarters here. And those types of job qualitatively make the kind of fuel that this DFW area is seeing for people buying homes, businesses needing to expand, and all of it kind of acts together all the same. In the same way with the banks, it's really interesting to see the number of new players, actually not just banks, in law firms themselves. There's a number of big players who, when they pulled out a map and saw where the people moving, where their clients moving, and where are the dollars, they've seen DFW in the larger Texas market as a big boom. So not only are they having to be competitive on price, which is great for us, but on experience is important. So you may have banks who have said, well, we have really great service, we have a lot of branches nearby, we have a lot of good people who are here, and yet if they can't bring the full package with also very competitive rates like some of these new players are, then it's a lot of what have you done for me lately, which can be unfortunate. You still need to have great relationships. You could have a really great rate and have a terrible staff and a terrible experience. You probably won't go back, but it is a qualitative difference that's all adding up, and that competition is really leading to a lot of activity.
Absolutely. And when you're even if you do have long standing relationship with banks, but you're working with investors and buying real estate deals, the returns are everything, right? And so sometimes you have to take that lower rate over a relationship. So guys, tell me a little bit, let's drill down a little bit more into the law firm and just kind of tell us, what are y'all working on the real estate? Like what are your clients asking for? What is y'all's focus there? Is it litigation mostly, or is it more, you're working up contracts for real estate purchases? Is it all of the above? Like, what are y'all seeing a trend?
So we're about 60 to 65% commercial real estate transactions. So it's still, again, as Romy was saying, the market is very hot with a lot of folks coming in from both coasts looking to invest and buy property. You've seen a lot of different activity. And so the firm has seen not just an increase in work from our local clients, but getting great referrals from folks on both coasts who are saying we need someone who not only knows the law, but is able to make sure that deals get done. And that's one of the things that we pride ourselves on, are being lawyers that are deal focused, because any lawyer can come in and tell you all the red flags, but what you need a lawyer who can tell you is how to dance around the red flags or turn a red flag into a yellow flag to ultimately get a deal done, and really achieve the true business objective of a client. So we've been having a lot of great success in it being introduced to these out-of-state clients who are looking to get into the Texas real estate market, introduce them in a way that's making their investments go smoothly on the transactional side. Then about 30% of our work is business litigation. We recently brought on a partner from a big law firm downtown who has been a longtime friend. He was a partner there and is doing a lot of commercial and intellectual property litigation on the technical side, which has been great. And I'm also, as head of the business litigation section at the firm, doing a lot of that work. We're representing companies nationwide in federal court litigation on the defense side, as well as a lot of real estate litigation. That's actually, if I was going to say on a trend, we're seeing a lot of tenants who have been with kind of the quiet local owner, maybe owns one or two strip centers or one or two buildings, not really up on bouncing rates up or enforcing the leases, getting bought out. Those landlords are getting bought out. New landlords are coming in who are saying, nope, I'm going to enforce the lease, or I'm going to move the rates up when I can under the lease, or I'm going to do other things that are required. And it's causing a lot of litigation and tenant-landlord issue on the commercial side. And then the rest of our practice, about 10% of our practice is corporate M&A. So a lot of, again, influx from other folks who are buying companies or merging of companies is something that we do a lot of with our corporate partner.
Are y'all seeing more of those M&A type of scenarios happening with the economy that we're seeing?
It is. It's not every sector. When you talk about just pure growth in almost every state where hemp has become legal, or cannabinoids or CBD products have become legal, you're seeing a dramatic spike in businesses that identify as that. But overall, there's a consolidation that is naturally occurring, and so you're seeing that. You're seeing a lot of aggregation. I know, Romy, and you can specifically talk about folks who are kind of gobbling up on the light industrial side, where you're really seeing some regional players like CANTEX, but then you've got big boys like Blackstone and Prologis who are really sucking up a lot of property as much as they can. So. Yeah.
Are y'all the buzzword I'm hearing on maybe the light industrial and the industrial is last mile industrial? Are y'all why is that such a buzzword right now?
I always joke it's last mile, urban infill. These are like the buzzwords, and so people pretend like they know exactly what it means, but nobody really kind of has. That's
why I'm asking, because I don't know what it. Yeah. And, it's fun to say though.
Yeah, it's fun to say. These are the buzzwords, and if you say, I've got last mile urban infill product, it's like, oh wow, that's something special, but what does that really mean?
It's a real sexy way to talk about industrial.
You ask 10 people, you'll get 10 different answers and definitions of those terms.
But to me, the urban infill part is, if you're close to rooftops, is really that's the core of all of the buzzwords, is being as close to rooftops as possible. In the Amazon Prime era that we're in, everybody wants everything immediately.
Right.
It was a 2-day delivery. It was a week, and then it was 2 days, and now you want it
2
tomorrow.
2 days isn't fast enough.
No, 2 days is not fast enough, and now it's I want it. I order at 8 a.m. and I want it in my hand at 4 p.m. Right, and so the only way that's going to happen is if that warehouse that's storing the good that you need or want, or that you ordered, is close enough to you wherever you live. To be able to do so, and that means having warehouses space that's urban infill, last mile, all the buzzwords. To me, they all kind of amalgamate together. But having that warehouse close to lots of rooftops, I think that's probably the easy way to simple.
Do you think like I could convert my garage into like last mile stuff and like just do some small industrial stuff there?
I mean,
paper towels.
No,
and stuff,
no legal opinions, because I'm sure the city is going to have a problem with that.
I'm
but
an unincorporated county. I mean, I've got to be. And I've got a metal
wild.
shop. Yeah.
No, but when you talk about the true last mile, you see the number of entrepreneurs who are jumping up to own their own vehicles, create their own distribution networks, and become contractors of Amazon to be able to get these products out. And really what you're talking about is just a scaled down version of a quick transport warehouse. I mean, these hubs are getting, as Romy said, closer and closer and closer to the places they actually have to deliver until the robots come and all of it's dropped by drones. So.
Right. True. That really was a joke, but at the same time, you probably could see that kind of happening, right? Where you major suburb areas like a Flower Mound, for example, that's not really close to any major highways or something like that, but there's 70,000 people plus in this huge suburb. So I wonder if we see some type of concept coming in where they can kind of keep those e-commerce type of products in a closer proximity in those areas.
What you're seeing there is the 1 million square foot Amazon warehouse that's kind of out near Alliance, for example. Yeah. What you're seeing now is then they have a 200,000 square foot that's closer, and then probably even closer they have a 50,000 or something smaller where it can keep that chain going, and it's maybe smaller, but it's even closer, right? So you're seeing a little bit of that come into play.
When you look at the Amazon lock boxes, those are just mini light industrial warehouses, unmanned, but they deliver from a larger warehouse. They put it in the locker. They send you a message. It's stored there, like a lot of light industrial, like a warehouse, and you go and pick it up. I mean, that is...
I haven't even heard of that. That's like a real thing?
There's probably 200 of them in the DFW area. They're at 7-Elevens. They're in like all kinds of Whole Foods. Yeah. All the Whole Foods have them.
So you order something, they take it there and put it there, and then you go get it when you're ready.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That is really interesting.
It's very interesting.
I was saying one thing we actually really like in the urban infill is space. We love cold storage. Think of refrigerated warehouse space. We're very bullish on that because the quicker and quicker that you want things, you're gonna also want. Eventually, we view the retail restaurant space as moving into. Restaurants being you just order it.
Right.
And when you just order it and it's a commercial kitchen, you've got to store all that product closer to where those are. So we're very bullish on kind of that urban infill cold storage facility. So we actually always look for that. If we can get that, that's like a big check mark for us in assets we're looking for.
That's interesting. And so are the municipalities, is this a challenge that's coming up on like, how do we put these type of facilities in some of these areas that aren't used to this type of real estate?
Well, a lot of cities don't like industrial.
Right.
Because industrial it's not sexy, it's not pretty, they think of the big old ugly industrial building. That's the mentality. So a lot of municipalities don't want it.
Right.
But then on the flip side, you're seeing cities that are very aggressively wanting to become hubs. Like Burleson is an example. Their EDC is very aggressive, and they want Burleson to be a huge industrial hub, and they're pushing for it. And they're getting good results accordingly because they're willing and they're open to it.
So this is going to sound kind of far afield, but did you all remember a couple years ago, and they've now done it every year, or for the last 2 years, is the Makers Wanted Bowl, football bowl. So the city of Elk Grove Village, Illinois, which is actually where I was born, is a big industrial area near O'Hare Airport in the Chicago suburbs. And they have made it a big point of their advertising to attract light industrial and entrepreneurs who are doing manufacturing and light manufacturing jobs. So that's why, they could have just put Elk Grove Village Bowl, but that wouldn't have been as good. They called it Makers Wanted because they're looking for those types of people. So, the equivalent would be Burleson here, other parts of Dallas that are having it. And really you've got some folks who can say, well, maybe it's ugly, maybe it's not as good, but you become a hub of jobs.
Right.
And so really the problem isn't industrial per se. It's how you package it, where you put it, being creative about your zoning, and really being willing to rethink a city plan that just knows that this is the way that it's going to be.
Right.
People are going to want to live in areas where they don't have to drive 30 miles to get to a job, and they're not going to want to have their frozen foods transported from the nearest cold storage 20 miles away. And they'll start to see those prices increase when it comes to delivery as we start to see a separation. We're now in a race to just who can deliver it, it's all free, whatever.
Right.
But eventually it will get to a place where those who are closer are going to see a benefit, and the cities that don't start to figure out some kind of solution will be left out.
That seems like an asset class that's going to change a lot year over year over year.
Yep.
As these kind of things change. Well, that's cool. So let's shift over to CANTEX.
Yeah.
Romy, and I know what the tex means, but what's the is that Canada?
It is Canada. I'm originally born and raised in Canada, and we were doing family was doing commercial real estate in Canada, and so I wanted to kind of do an homage to my roots in Canada, and so that's where it stems from. And it's funny, the more and more I meet people in commercial real estate in the Dallas area, there are tons of Canadians.
There really are.
That are in commercial real estate and that have come down here from Canada and built different companies and have large asset bases, and so Canadians love Texas, I guess, is what I'm finding.
Well, that's interesting, and I've never been to Canada, but I want to go. And Vancouver, right? Isn't that where you're from?
Vancouver,
I hear
yeah.
that's awesome.
It is. You got beautiful coast. You've got mountains. You've got anything you can think of outdoorsy that's there.
We got to figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little trip. So, tell me, so what is CANTEX? What are y'all focused on? What are y'all looking for? From the real estate perspective, and what's exciting you about the market?
Yeah. So we're heavily focused right now on urban infill, last mile,
The stuff we were just talking about.
All
Amazing.
of the buzzwords,
Yeah.
put them all together. That's what we do. We really focus on urban product. So we want to be in Dallas,
Right.
core Dallas. We want to be in GSW, Grand Prairie, Arlington. We want to be in the core of those markets.
Right.
We want to be in the core Fort Worth markets. Those are kind of our three main areas. We really like Valwood. We would love to do some stuff in Valwood. Just haven't found a transaction that made sense for us yet there. We love the Plano market. Just haven't found anything that made sense for us there. But we've been really heavily focused on kind of those three markets right now. We view what's happening in retail with the shift, with restaurants being great, and then the service-based aspects of retail being winners there. Mm-hmm. The other parts that are not doing so well, where people are wanting to order their clothing online, for example, what's going to end up being the winner, or what our viewpoint is, it's the industrial warehouse. It's
Right.
the storage warehouse that's there. Our viewpoint is the stuff that we buy is half of replacement cost, if not less. And so your ability to go rebuild what we're buying is practically impossible.
Right.
And even if you do, your lease rate expectations are going to be substantially higher than what ours are.
And is that from construction costs and those types of things? Price of land?
Absolutely. If land, even availability of land is, if you can even find something that
Right.
fits industrial zoning in the core markets, and then having land available. GSW, for example, that's a great Southwest industrial region. The last site that's being built there, it's a big developer. And they're literally building on a landfill. That's
Interesting.
how few industrial sites remain in that area.
Well, they already took over. There was a golf course there that was actually a nice one, and it's gone. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I think Caddyshack said the worst thing for real estate is golf courses and cemeteries or something like that.
Right.
Definitely.
So we're bullish on it, and we're acquiring as much as we can. We also view it as a bit of a hedge on the market. Wherever we've been in the ninth inning for I don't know how many years.
Right.
And so if this year is truly wherever that ninth inning is, and we're kind of at the edge of a slowdown or whatever that looks like, nobody really knows. We're all guessing.
But it's still like back to what you said.
Yeah.
Jobs keep coming here, and people keep moving here. Then it keeps going, right?
That's my viewpoint. And
Unless the
we're
coronavirus kills us all.
Right.
Yeah.
Bring it
So I know Bill's carrying it. So, but
I am. I've got a briefcase. It's right inside there. It's
Yeah.
excellent.
I
But I'm only, you know.
I
yeah.
used Germex this morning, so I'm good. I'm not sure about Romy.
Dang, I'll be back tomorrow.
So, guys, tell me. So, you mentioned a couple of things there, Romy, where you said like nothing made sense in Plano, nothing made sense in this area. So, are those the effects of a good economy where there's a lot of people looking for deals and they're just harder to find?
Yeah, there's a lot of investor flow out there of people, of deal shops looking to
Right.
do deals, or private investors looking to do deals. We're seeing a lot of foreign capital. When I say foreign, I mean not Texas.
Right.
So California, New York, wherever else that's not Texas, you're seeing a lot of capital that wants to be in a core market like DFW. And there's only so much product that's available here, and there's a lot of people vying for the same limited number of assets
Sure.
that are on the market. We just haven't found anything in those specific markets that fit our investment criteria.
What's the key to finding, good opportunities in a market as strong and tight as this is? How do you find the right deal when you know that everybody that's looking for the same things that y'all are eager and ready to pull the trigger at any moment? How do you navigate through that?
Yeah, our deals are almost all relationship driven.
Right.
So whether it's a broker relationship, that's probably number one. Brokers know that if they work with us on a deal, we're going to perform,
Yeah.
and we're not too difficult to deal with. And I don't have a giant committee behind me that need to go, and I can say it's good, and then somebody else doesn't, and there's somebody on a whim decides they don't want to do it anymore.
And Bill signs off on it.
Bill's
I come in there and I say whatever Romy says. No, but not to. Romy will undersell himself about the fact that DFW has always been a city where whether you're from here or you're not, whether you're from the United States or not, whether you're from real estate or some other industry, if you treat people right, you're generally going to find other people treat you right back as well. And Romy is the way that I've seen him conduct himself and the relationships that he's built is how he's able to find these great deals from people in the industry who say, I want someone who's going to close when they say they're going to close. I want someone who says, I don't have a committee to go to. I don't have a committee to go to. That when I'm making a decision, I can move fast and I can get it done. And I'm going to treat everyone with respect. And I've seen it even on the legal side. The folks who have been the establishment, if you will, on real estate and particularly industrial, who have treated brokers as second-class citizens.
Yeah,
When you really think about it, they're the ones who are the boots on the ground, the nerve endings of real estate transactions that are getting done. And then Romy comes in and he says, I'm absolutely going to treat these people right. They are excellent. They are great. They are knowledgeable. They're intelligent. And that just feeds on itself in terms of a deal flow for people who say, I don't have to work with people who think I'm not worth their respect, and instead can work with someone who does.
No, that's interesting, and I think it's important because, especially in the commercial real estate where it's all network driven, right?
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
so if you have a reputation of not performing or being hard to work with, that's not going to help your cause very much, right?
absolutely.
So what you're saying is, if you build a strong network of people that are in the business and have their finger on the pulse, so to speak, and your reputation is one that that you work well with others and in the market and you can perform, you get more deal opportunities than your competition that maybe is not up to snuff on those.
I would say if there's if there's a deal that's hit the market, is being actively marketed, and it's been out there for 24 hours, it's too late. For us, it's too late.
Right.
We're not going to be able to find a value or an edge there because I've got 100 different people that are going to be looking at that asset, and it's going to be competitively priced, and it's going to get to a place that is maybe what the fair market value is. We try to focus on assets that are off market,
Right.
that are brought in through broker relationships.
So the broker's bringing it to you maybe before they've publicly announced it.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
So tell me, what are y'all? Is there anything you're excited about that y'all are doing out there? I know there's some hospitality y'all mentioned, a hotel in Fort Worth or something.
Yeah.
Is that something you want to tell us about?
Yeah, we are working on a hotel project in the near south side of Fort Worth, Medical District. It is a year and a half in the making. There's a community group there that's been very involved with us on working on a product, and it's going to be a Hilton branded project.
Oh, wow.
And it'll be about 140, 150 keys. my goal is it's the destination boutique hotel in Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Demand generator will be driven really by this near South Side area, and then
It's like the jewel of Fort Worth or something
exactly
like that.
right.
Okay.
Yep, that's our goal. We haven't publicly done any announcement yet, but we hired a branding company to come up with a name and kind of a whole platform, and so the project will be called the Nobleman.
Oh,
so you're getting it
nice.
first here on working title.
I like that. There you go.
One of the really interesting things about it is the way that it incorporates the local history. There is a fire station number 5 that the hotel will be built around, which is a historic fire station that's
really?
currently actually serving as a distillery for a vodka company.
Okay.
And the
Will the vodka be there once the hotel's done?
We are actually working to incorporate the vodka distillery as a part of the project.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
right.
it's Fort Worth has done I would say a better job than Dallas has in preserving its historical buildings in those types of areas, and so the folks in the community association were very, very interested in seeing how this project and how Cantex would make sure to honor that, and ended up really coming out with a product and renderings and a final design that's going to honor the history of that area while still letting it move into the next century. So
That's interesting. You're hearing a lot about hotels coming into the DFW area, and when I talking to people in the real estate world, and they seem to be they're really into hospitality, or they don't want anything to do with it. So what's the key to hospitality? How does that? It seems like it could be a risky investment, especially if you don't know anything. If you don't know what you're doing, it's a risky investment. But what's key to hospitality? And I know there's a lot of versions of hospitality, right?
Right.
To limited service, full service.
Right.
So, what's your thoughts there?
It's definitely the sexiest asset type.
Right.
Because you typically have a bar, a restaurant, even if it's limited service.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of cool factor with versus owning an industrial building. A hotel is pretty cool.
Right.
Comparatively, it can also be very, very lucrative. The flip side is you're buying an operating business.
Right.
I would say it's less real estate than it's an operating business. And jumping into an operating business, you can also turn cash flow the other way.
Right.
And be in the red.
It's not only that the real estate it's on or the real estate it is that worth something? It's
Right.
also can you make money
Right.
operating this hotel?
Right.
Right.
There's a lot, and kind of what we are seeing in DFW area, we've effectively in the last 3 years or so been a net seller.
Right.
We're just really picky about hotel, but we bought a hotel, which Bill really was involved in North Austin, and that was fantastic, has been fantastic. We're working on this project in core Fort Worth, and we're working on a project in core Dallas in the medical district. Other than that, our thought is, again, not knowing where we are in the market cycle, I think a lot of hotels coming in the pipeline. There's a lot of hotels coming in secondary markets around DFW. I don't know how they're going to fare. For us, we think there's maybe too much. I could be totally wrong. We'd rather not be betting in that space. So we'd rather be focusing on building really core, unique assets with multiple demand generators and really stuff that are destination projects. And then we'll let everyone else do the limited service, throw up 4-story wood frame on the side of a highway. That's not us. That's not what we want to be doing. We're not sure where that is, and our belief is it's probably overbuilt, or it is being overbuilt.
Right.
And we don't want to be in that bet.
Sure.
There's probably tons of people that would disagree, and they're actively doing that. But that's our viewpoint right now for DFW, at least from what we're seeing.
I've heard that there's like a hotel shortage. Do you agree with that, or is that in the full service realm, but not as much in the?
you should say full service where or hotels
that's
where,
exactly
because
right.
when you talk about
because like Frisco's got like 5.
Yeah, well,
that are supposedly coming.
when you talk about areas that are very pro hotel like Frisco, they are essentially saying if you want to spend your money and build it, you do it, right? Within some little parameters. But then you have other areas who are saying no hotels. We won't let any hotels be built in the city limits. And then you get 2 or 3 of those together and you have an area that is missing hotels. So then it tends to build up around the edges. And Romy knows some more about that. But I also, one thing that's really interesting is I've seen much more on the real estate transactional litigation side are folks who are coming into asset classes that they've never been a part of, or folks who have never had any real estate experience but have been very successful in tech or in medicine and have said, well, now I'm going to get into industrial, or now I'm going to buy hotels. And some of them fare fine, and some of them don't. They don't know they don't understand the licensing agreements with franchises, how to get a flag and hold on to it, how to actually run an apartment building, how to deal with ordinances. And the more you see that's spawning deals that end up getting done or maybe need some more help, or litigation that comes out of it. But the hotel shortage, it's really geographic, and even asset type.
Interesting. So let me ask you this. So somebody that's, in one of those scenarios, let's say never been in the real estate business before, they made money elsewhere, or they're wanting to kind of get, test the waters of real estate investing in it. What would y'all's advice to be to somebody that says, hey, you know what, I've made some money, I want to invest in real estate. What would your advice be about going about that? Like, hey, guy, just go buy something, see how it works? Or would you say, hey, find a good group that knows what they're doing and work with them? Like, what are y'all's thoughts?
Yeah, that always scares me. I see it all the time. Some, engineer or physician or someone else that has some capital and says, that doesn't look that hard. All these people are doing it. They're making tons of money. I can do it too.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. That is true. But if you don't know what you're doing with anything and you're jumping into it with substantial capital,
right,
it's a good way to lose money, or at least not know what you're doing, and you may make mistakes through the process, and those mistakes are costly,
right?
To your pocket.
Like when I try to fix something at home for my wife,
right,
and then I just create a bigger problem and it costs more money.
You should have just hired somebody.
Yeah.
And for those types of folks that are interested in getting into it, I mean, there's tons of groups that are out there that you can co-invest in and start getting the reporting, see the underwriting, see what their thesis is, see how they're operating, and maybe use that as a way to learn.
Right.
I know there's so many ways online to learn about real estate investing.
And it's all true.
Yeah. I'm like, I am so wary of that. Personally, you don't know where you're getting information from. A lot of people that are trying to teach you how to real estate invest are really asking for you to invest in what they're doing.
Yeah.
Or there are people who are benefiting from it regardless. You may have someone who says, hey, look, this is a great asset. And, let's say you have an unfortunately unscrupulous broker who says, oh, don't worry, it's very easy to run or whatever it may be. You can do it. They're going to make their money and leave and not be there when you run into operating trouble. It's like anything. With enough knowledge and enough control, you turn investing you turn gambling into investing.
Right.
But with not enough knowledge and without enough control, you're going to go from investing to gambling. And that's where people who are crossing into different industries that they've never been a part of, or they think, well, I'll just buy this and it'll run itself.
Right.
Or, oh, no, I saw that guy. He built a building. I can build a building.
Yeah, he's a moron. I could do it
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Right, yeah.
But they don't necessarily know that guy's actually running it into the ground, because he's not going to tell them, oh, I'm running it into the ground.
You only hear the good stories. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So is that something that the PCR firm and CANTEX could help people with? Like, I've got money and I'd like to invest it. Could I call Romy and say, like, hey, I have $1 million. I want to buy something. Can you help me with that? Or are y'all kind of, or is that not something they all focus on? And in turn, can the PCR, somebody that is doing that, they do need to have a real estate attorney, I would think.
Yep.
Right? I mean, I wouldn't, because I already know what I'm doing.
No, everything.
And I know a guy that made a ton of money.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah. So are those the type? Do y'all look for? I know you're looking for people that want to use y'all for real estate law. Romy, do y'all ever work with people? Maybe they own land or they own a property, they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And they're trying to find best use. Are those types of are those people y'all want to talk to?
Yeah, we do actually do a good amount of sale leasebacks, where there's a user or an owner that has a building and is currently a tenant, but is dealing with all the headaches of owning the real estate and really wants to focus on running their business.
Sure.
So we've done a number of those transactions. We're actually closing one tomorrow.
Okay.
And in that exact space, where a business owner wanted to free up some capital but didn't want to leave the building, and is going to use that to put back in their company and grow
Sure.
the business. And so that's a partnership to
Yep.
us. and so we love that. I mean, we do take on outside capital. We're very picky.
Right.
That's probably the opposite of some other groups. We are very picky on who
you
we
work
invest
with. Sure.
My viewpoint is life is short, and I want to know and trust and have a good relationship with everyone I work with,
Sure.
including investors. Typically,
This
it's
investor
the other
can
way
make your
around.
life very hard.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
They absolutely can. And so we have a fantastic investor pool that we work with. And it's a Bill's one of our he's the guy that's a pain in the ass, but we still love him.
I'm
Right.
always
And he
asking questions.
charges for that.
And he
Oh,
charges.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
on the legal side, we as I mentioned on the commercial real estate, we have worked with anything from publicly traded companies all the way down to people who are looking to invest in deals and reviewing their investment paperwork. We do a lot of commercial lease work for anything from retail centers to downtown office towers, as well as working with a number of banks and even borrowers on doing loan documentation and closing transactions. So a lot of work that is being done in that area. And for folks who are, for example, always happy to open our Rolodex to help, someone who's saying, hey, I know I want to sell my property. I'd like to hire you as a lawyer, but I also need you to help me find a good broker to work with, or find a great title company like Kensington to work with, or find, other resources, or just help me find a buyer, right?
Sure.
And we can say, hey, we're more than happy to, get you with the best broker in your area for your asset type. Because the more that we can help each other, we're just here to find solutions.
Sure.
Our firm is built with people who are very business minded, including Romy as a founder, Judge is one of the founders, Judge Platt of Platt, Cheema, Richmond, and myself and all the other partners that we have. We know that lawyers are tools, not
Yep.
just in that they're kind of boring and crappy sometimes.
Unless
but-
you're Bill Richmond.
Unless you're Bill Richmond.
Right.
But really that we can serve a function, and our function is to help someone get to the end of their business goal. And
Right.
sometimes that requires a lot of legal, sometimes it requires a little legal, and sometimes it requires no legal whatsoever.
Maybe counsel.
Yeah, it may
Yeah.
just be some counseling, or it may just be there's nothing to do here. Well, you
Yeah.
could literally pay me,
You're
and no
doing
result
well.
will change. Right? Yeah. So, helping people to find solutions, especially in the real estate area, is what we love to do.
Excellent. So, if you own real estate, maybe you occupy it and you want to sell it, but stay in that space, CANTEX could possibly help. Or if you're in the real estate business and you need legal or counsel, or maybe you're entering it and you're not sure where to go, y'all could help.
Yep.
Absolutely.
PCR can help with that. Yep.
Excellent. So Bill, how do we get a hold of PCR firm if we want to inquire about that? Where do you direct people?
Sure. The best place to go is our website, which
Okay.
is pcrfirm.com. P as in Paul, C as in Charlie, R as in Roger, firm.com. And you'll be able to find our profiles there, see the different folks who are working in the different areas, and get connected. And if you're not sure, you can reach out to me. My contact information is there, my email, my phone number, and be more than happy to connect you with the right person. And even if we don't have the right person at our firm, I will help you find someone at another firm who can meet your need.
Excellent. That's pcrfirm.com, and we will link to that on the website and to our social media channels. And Romy, for you, how do we find CANTEX, and how do we get a hold of you?
Yeah, our website is a work in progress. It's literally about to be completely redone in the next
Okay.
few weeks. But it's cantexcapital.com, CANTEX capital.com.
Okay.
It will look very different very shortly. It's pretty plain Jane, but there's ways to contact us.
Ways of contact,
through
and
there.
we'll put
Yeah.
contact up on the website as well. Guys, thanks for coming on, spending some time with me, telling us about what y'all do and how you're helping folks in the real estate market here in DFW. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it. You'll have to come back on another time. All right. Well, this has been the Working Title Show with Zach Sams. We will see you next time.